There's a big problem in our country with prosecutorial misconduct. The root of prosecutorial misconduct comes with ambition for upward mobility. If you're a prosecutor, then your highest aspirations are to attorney general or to a position on the bench. If you're an attorney general, you are also responsible for a great deal of the fiduciary health of the state or the nation in which you serve in this position. There are many financial matters you must attend to. Unlike a defense or another kind of attorney that can have a specialization, an attorney general is supposed to be a, sort of a jack of all trades in many regards. In the state of Texas, constitutionally speaking, the Attorney General is responsible for providing victims assistance, especially to survivors of domestic violence. But somehow, in this twisted little Russia fraud game that Texas plays as part of its proxy economy in order to leverage acts of money laundering in connection with old Russian accounts it has no intention of delivering on until it is so skeezed and scuzzed them up that Russia's willing to cede its national relationship with it. That what happened is that victims of domestic violence ended up being leveraged in consideration of all the goodies that Texas could get for its weapons industry by indulging the more prurient appetites of its veterans, including its disabled veterans. And so the DVs got swapped out with the DVs. And over the last couple of years, it's been very literal. And so, if you're a woman that's experienced domestic violence, you have to figure out how to leverage your real material needs for the complete prurient games boyship that the men in Texas have been enabled to get away with for so long. And at the end of the day, what do you have left of a woman that's capable and competent in a leadership role? See, I'm not a man and I can't change that. And every day they have ceded my life to one person, and that's because the other person they gave me was acknowledged by the Attorney General insofar as he was allowed to get a $10,000 kickback for towing cars during Hurricane Harvey and not being paid on time. And when I told him on the 4th of July I wasn't going to help him get discount rates for his electricity provision, my relationship changed. Now, the Texas Board of Insurance defaulted on its obligation to respond to an open report number within 6 months. It is part of the Texas Insurance Code that if they open a report on you, they must respond in some fashion within 6 months. And I did request an emergency hearing right before I ended up having to leave the house because I got threatened by a veteran and then had to leave the city. But the thing about this is that when you're talking about prosecutorial misconduct up to and including the level of the Attorney General is also responsible for addressing acts within his own sector. There is absolutely no responsibility within the legal community in the state of Texas for acts of gross misconduct by attorneys and judges. As a matter of fact, all I've seen from the disciplinary grievance process is that a couple of lawyers here and there will be given a special little dog and pony show where they get a public spectacle, at least within the public of the legal community, where they get a little bit chastised here and then they get to show how fancy they can be in their own defense and how many other people they can get bundled onto their name as the victim so that they can leverage it to cover up for crimes on a very, very high level. It's just a game. It's just a game. And if you don't want to play a game, you can't even get a lawyer. I have twice had women that were subjected to domestic violence ask me to assist them in some way. And I did the best I could in terms of offering them and sharing with them what I'd experienced and looking at what they'd done. And both of them were non native to the United States, and they were first language Spanish speakers. And the same thing happened in both cases. And by the time it was supposed to be for them to go to trial or them to deal with their situation, somehow, oh, they just didn't get back in touch with me. I post on YouTube right now because I know that I'm in a situation where people who've been trafficking me are trying to convince me to give up on trying to go through the legal system. They're trying to get me to say, just stop it. It's the same thing that happened in Fort Worth. I was allowed to stay inside. But if I said anything about trying to file with the court, I got yelled at. This is different. They want me to agree to just let them take it and make it into a product and sell it and then come up with some deal on the side. And I've watched what they've done with the deals. And it's so freaky to me because I didn't go to law school and I don't have a law degree and I don't have a bar number and I don't have insurance and I've never been allowed to have a lawyer. But I'm pretty certain that if we weren't trying to manufacture a ton of derivatives to cover up for crimes, I'd actually do a lot better in court than them. But the reason they keep pulling jurisdictional arguments is because they're literally using me and my life and what happened to me in proxy scenarios for things at levels of escalating risk that they don't generally get access to because lawyers have other parameters around what they're willing to invest in a case for somebody that's not themselves. They won't put their lives on the line like I have to. Are you guys done with your harvest? Are you done?